Beartown Shaker, they call it. It's in the far lane as you look at the starting line at Ontario Motor Speedway. Shady Glenn and Pat Foster with a bit of a lead and wins the race. And an engine explosion for Rick Johnson. The fire coming out of the car, and there goes the body off the car. The parachute's still out. Rick Johnson driving the car out into the grass, and he brings it to a stop. It's still upright. The rear tire's blown, the front tire's blown, and Rick Johnson is climbing out of the car. You saw it catch on fire. Rick Johnson apparently looks to be A-OK. Now hailing from El Toro, California, Beck with a big hole shot. A big advantage at the starting line. And, boy, now that's a close race at the finish line. Tom Kaiser, I think, pulled it out at the finish over Gary Beck. Beck had the big head start at the starting line, but I think Kaiser came from behind. Let's watch in slow motion and see. The times for Kaiser, a 6:13 to a 6:33 for Beck, and here they come into the timing traps, and there you see it, just a wheel length. Tom Kaiser, the winner. Let's see if he can match that in the first round of eliminations as he faces the defending champion, Gordie Bonnin. Looking at the Christmas tree from the perspective of Bonnin as he sits encased in that Pontiac Trans Am Firebird. They leave the line together. And Bonnin beginning out of control. He almost hits Dale Poldy. And Bonnin brings the car back under control, pulls back into his lane. A tremendous driving job for the defending champion, Gordie Bonnin. He is eliminated from the race by virtue of crossing the center line. But very, very close call for Gordie Bonnin and Dale Poldy. Here you see Bonnin out of control, crossing over, almost hitting Dale Poldy. Out of Dallas, Texas, but they'll need every bit of it to beat the lady, Shirley Muldowney. What a start, and David Pace smokes the tires, but he stays in it. He doesn't even lift out of it. David Pace upsetting Shirley Muldowney, 5.92 seconds, over 247 miles an hour. As we watch again, you see there's no difference as they leave the starting line. And then the tires begin to smoke. David Pace drifts out of that straight track, but he doesn't lift out of it at all. He keeps on going, and David Pace wins it. John Force in the near lane and staging very carefully into those light beams. Both drivers set, and an advantage for Force, and he goes up in smoke. Now Little John goes up in smoke. It's a race to the finish line, and it is Little John Lombardo pulling it out. A tremendous race. Only a 6:32 for each driver, but times don't count. It's who gets to the finish line first.
And it still takes a driver in one of these cars, no matter how sophisticated they get. They leave right together. Force in the near lane will be the first to lose traction. There, too much power for this racetrack. Right now, Force feels, I've lost.
But Little John Lombardo goes up in smoke. He recovers and pulls out by 1 car length the victory over John Force. They are both former world champions. Shirley is the reigning champ. The concentration on the starting line, intense by both drivers. And it is Tharp out first as Shirley loses traction, and Tharp explodes the motor. He holds on to win it. The supercharger hanging off the side of the car, and Richard Tharp defeats Shirley Muldowney for the Top Fuel title. The defending champion falling to defeat in the finals. As you can watch, Richard Tharp just a little bit ahead of Shirley Muldowney as she smokes the tires, has to back off just a little bit to let him regain traction, and Tharp explodes into a ball of flame. From another angle, you see the lead that Tharp has at that point. He explodes the engine. He's just coasting right now. Shirley is thundering for the finish line. She runs 247 miles an hour. Richard Tharp, 176. Joe Amato near lane. Garlett's in the far lane. And a tremendous wheel stand for Amato. He backs back pedal, and there the motor goes away in an explosion for Amato. Joe Amato wins the race, but levels the motor. He brings the car to a safe stop. Jerry Amato very worried, you can tell, but the look on her face about her husband Joe. But the car to a safe stop. You see the safety people over checking immediately. Here we watch again. Look at the wheel stand. Joe Amato riding on those back tires, trying to stay away from the center line. The tires smoking. Garlits gets in front, but then he has engine problems, allowing Amato by, and then boom. There it is, the engine explosion that tore the supercharger right off the top of Joe Amato's dragster. The parachute stays on even with the intense flame, allowing Joe Amato to bring his dragster to a safe stop.
Jim Head inside the car, rattling around in that steel cocoon of a roll cage. Fiberglass body atop a tube chassis. They leave right together. G.A. Santucci and Jim Head. What a drag race. That's Head in the near lane, Santucci's far lane. And the win light, it is for Jim Head. 584, 246 miles per hour. And Paul Page, that was definitely worth another look.
But Steve, some concern back at the starting line, a red light burns. And the question is, was there truly a red light? Now, it appeared to me that there was a flash of green in Santucci's lane before the red. Going to the finish line, it was still Santucci, but then Head came on strong and got him with inches to spare. Head with a 584 as the win.
Last into the staging beam, Dick LaHaye. And it's a whole shot for LaHaye. He put a driving job on Darrell Gwynn. Look at the race. Oh, my gracious, Darrell Gwynn wins it by just a few inches. What a tremendous race. 5.29 seconds at 270 miles an hour, the winning time. Listen to the losing time. A 5:33 at 268 miles an hour for Dick LaHaye. LaHaye in the near lane had a 0.04 of a second advantage off the starting line, and he almost pulled it off. It doesn't get any closer than this.